Picture this. You're a NASA engineer monitoring routine telemetry from humanity's most distant ambassador when suddenly your instruments start detecting structured electromagnetic pulses containing mathematical sequences that spell out pi and the golden ratio. Your spacecraft, operating on power reserves that should barely keep it alive, begins autonomously redirecting its sensors and translating signals from an unknown source. This isn't science fiction. This is exactly what happened when Voyager encountered something at the heliopause that has completely rewritten our understanding of what's waiting for us in interstellar space. Today, we're diving deep into the classified data, the unexplained gravitational anomalies, and the terrifying possibility that we've been under surveillance this entire time. After more than 40 years drifting through the cold, dark void of space, Voyager 2, one of humanity's most ambitious and enduring emissaries, appeared to perform an action no one thought possible. Although it cannot physically reverse its path, data revealed that the spacecraft metaphorically turned back, reorienting its instruments toward the inner solar system as if it had finally noticed something that demanded its full attention. This moment was more than a technical curiosity. It was profound. Voyager 2 has been a silent traveler for decades, crossing the boundaries of our solar system and entering regions that no human-made object had ever reached. For years, it sent back steady streams of data about magnetic fields, cosmic rays, and plasma waves, offering glimpses into the unknown. Yet now, after such a long journey into the abyss, it seemed to respond to something external, something beyond ordinary measurement. The turning back was not a mechanical maneuver. The spacecraft lacks the propulsion and energy to reverse its trajectory. What occurred was symbolic, yet deeply significant. Its instruments, including the plasma wave subsystem and the magnetometer, began to register phenomena in directions they had not been focused on before. The sensors were now aligned as if to investigate an anomaly, something unusual or deliberate at the very edge of interstellar space. For decades, Voyager 2 has been a relic of human curiosity, a machine designed for exploration and observation, quietly floating farther from Earth with each passing year. This new behavior suggested more than a mere coincidence or sensor fluctuation. It implied that the probe had detected an external influence, something that required attention and response. Its metaphorical turning back symbolized the beginning of a new chapter in our understanding of deep space, a chapter in which the unknown was no longer distant and theoretical, but immediate, structured, and possibly intelligent. As scientists monitored the data, they realized that this pivot represented an awakening. Voyager 2, a mechanical extension of human ambition and ingenuity, had encountered a stimulus strong enough to alter its observational focus. It was as if the universe had whispered, and the probe, after decades of silence, had finally leaned in to listen. The implications of this are staggering. For 48 years, humanity had sent Voyager 2 outward with a simple mission: to explore, to gather, to observe. Now, in its twilight years, the spacecraft appeared to be observing back, responding to something beyond our prior comprehension. What prompted this shift remains unknown, but it set the stage for revelations that would challenge everything we thought we understood about interstellar space, the limits of human reach, and the possibility that we are being observed. Voyager 2's turning back was more than a technical anomaly. It was the first sign that deep space was not as empty as we once believed, that patterns and phenomena might exist at the edge of our solar system that have remained hidden for eons, quietly waiting for an observer to notice. This subtle realignment of instruments marked the beginning of a profound and unsettling discovery that would capture the attention of scientists, governments, and the public alike, raising questions that touch on the very nature of life, intelligence, and our place in the cosmos. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You don't want to miss any updates on the universe's deepest secrets. And if you love exploring hidden mysteries and unexplained discoveries, Give this video a like so we know to keep uncovering them. As Voyager 2 drifted farther into the vastness beyond our solar system, its instruments began to detect something entirely unexpected. Faint at first, the signals were irregular and almost imperceptible, but there was a strange structure to them. Electromagnetic waves pulsed with a precision that did not match anything naturally occurring. Plasma density fluctuations and magnetometer readings showed patterns too deliberate, too consistent to be dismissed as random cosmic activity. Initially, engineers and scientists approached the data with skepticism. It was easy to assume glitches in the aging spacecraft systems, interference from Earth-based transmission, or corrupted packets in the long-distance signal. The probe's equipment, designed decades ago, was showing its age, and any anomaly could have been written off as simple wear and tear or software limitations. But the more they examined the readings, the less the anomalies resembled noise, and the more they resembled intent. The patterns emerged with astonishing regularity. Pulses appeared at precise intervals, electromagnetic spikes synchronized across multiple instruments, and magnetic field variations that repeated in a way impossible to attribute to random processes. Using advanced mathematical techniques, including Fourier transformations and deconvolution algorithms, the scientists found that the signals contained frequencies spaced in a way consistent with engineered communication. It was as though someone, or something, was sending messages deliberately through the vast emptiness. The plasma wave subsystem, though designed primarily to monitor natural space phenomena, recorded oscillations that seemed almost alive. They were structured, rhythmic, and repeated with a precision that hinted at logic or intent. Even the cosmic ray readings were anomalous, showing directional spikes instead of the usual omnidirectional scatter. Something was happening at the edge of the solar system that defied every known natural explanation. For the scientists, the revelation was both thrilling and terrifying. These were not just unexplained readings, they were organized phenomena that suggested intelligence, a presence capable of interacting with the probe in a meaningful way. The faintness of the signals did not diminish their significance. Across billions of miles, Voyager 2 had picked up an imprint of activity so precise it challenged the limits of human understanding. The more the team analyzed, the clearer it became. That Voyager 2 had not stumbled upon a random cosmic anomaly. What it had detected bore the hallmarks of deliberate design, a pattern that could only have been created with purpose. Every peak in the electromagnetic field, every subtle oscillation in plasma density, and every modulated magnetic fluctuation carried the possibility of meaning. It was as if the probe had become a receiver, tuned to the faint whisper of something ancient and intelligent, a presence waiting patiently at the boundary of our solar system. The realization dawned slowly but inexorably. Voyager 2 had intercepted a signal that was far from natural. These were not mere fluctuations in space. They were signs of an external influence capable of structuring energy and information on a scale beyond anything humanity had ever encountered. This detection marked a turning point. It was the first evidence that the emptiness of interstellar space might conceal not only matter and energy, but intelligence, capable of interacting with human technology across unimaginable distances. Voyager 2's instruments had captured more than data. They had captured a hint of a presence, deliberate and aware, sending a signal across the void, challenging humanity to listen and understand. As scientists dug deeper into the anomalous signals from Voyager 2, the patterns revealed a level of sophistication that was both breathtaking and unnerving. Applying advanced analytical tools, including Fourier transformations and deconvolution algorithms, they were able to extract hidden structures from what at first appeared to be faint, erratic blips. These structures were not random. They carried a precise mathematical order that seemed almost intentional. Some sequences corresponded to universal mathematical constants, such as pi and the golden ratio. These are values that transcend culture, language, and even species. They are fundamental properties of the universe itself. The recurrence of such constants in a signal traveling billions of miles suggested an intelligence with the ability to manipulate energy deliberately and with profound understanding of mathematics. It was not the chaotic noise of natural cosmic processes. It was a message encoded in the language of the cosmos. But the intrigue did not stop with mathematics. Temporal patterns in the signals mimicked aspects of linguistic cadence, forming repetitive sequences that resembled binary pairs, echoes of Morse-like structures, and even nested data arrangements. These sequences had a rhythm that suggested intention and communication, as if someone or something was attempting to transmit information in a way that could be recognized by an intelligent observer. The signal's organization was staggering. There were recurring pulses lasting precisely 3.142 seconds, a clear nod to pi, followed by intervals of silence before repeating. Within these pauses and bursts, a complex architecture of timing, frequency, and amplitude emerged, forming a structure that hinted at a language of numbers and rhythm rather than words or images. For the scientists analyzing the data, it was a chilling confirmation that the universe might host forms of communication entirely different from our own, yet still intelligible to those able to detect patterns and logic. The combination of mathematics and linguistic-like structure created a sense of awareness in the data. It was as if the source of the signal understood that Voyager 2 would be able to observe and interpret it, and had chosen a method that could transcend species, technology, and time. The universe, it seemed, had become not merely a backdrop of stars and empty space, but a medium capable of sending deliberate, intelligible signals. For the teams at Mission Control, this realization was both thrilling and terrifying. What they were observing was not merely a set of physical phenomena, it was a deliberate interaction, a communication attempt encoded in the universal constants and rhythmic sequences of energy itself. Voyager 2 had become more than a probe. It had become a messenger, a receiver, and a witness to something profoundly intelligent operating at the fringes of our solar system. The implications were staggering. If the signal was truly deliberate, then it indicated a level of technological sophistication far beyond human capability, a civilization or entity capable of transmitting information across interstellar distances with precision and purpose. The presence of such patterns forced scientists to consider not just what was being sent, but why, and what the intentions of the sender might be. Voyager 2 had intercepted more than data. It had intercepted a whisper from the void that spoke in the language of logic, numbers, and universal constants, a message deliberately crafted for understanding across the cosmos. As Voyager 2 continued its journey through the uncharted territories beyond the heliopause, its instruments began detecting anomalies that defied conventional physics. Subtle gravitational perturbations appeared in regions where no massive objects had been catalogued. The spacecraft's trajectory and measurements suggested forces acting upon it that could not be explained by known planets, asteroids, or even interstellar dust. These were faint but measurable deviations, small, almost imperceptible tugs on the spacecraft's motion, but enough to signal something extraordinary lurking at the edge of our solar system. Simultaneously, the probe recorded directional fluxes of high-energy particles, cosmic rays moving in patterns inconsistent with the random scattering expected in deep space. Normally, cosmic rays arrive from all directions, their paths shaped by magnetic fields and interstellar material. Yet Voyager 2's instruments showed streams of particles focused along specific vectors, hinting at sources or interactions previously unrecognized. The data suggested that these particles were being channeled or influenced by forces that were deliberately shaping their distribution. Taken together, the gravitational and particle anomalies implied the presence of unseen entities, either massive objects hidden in the distant void or clusters of smaller entities exerting localized influence. These anomalies could be creating distortions in space-time itself, subtly bending trajectories and modulating particle flows in ways that hinted at technological manipulation. The signals suggested intelligence, a level of control over physics far beyond anything humanity had achieved, operating in a realm where only natural forces were previously assumed to act. For the team analyzing the data, the implications were staggering. Voyager 2 had reached a frontier not just of space, but of understanding. What they were observing could not be explained by natural astrophysical phenomena alone. The anomalies pointed to entities that could be massive yet invisible, or perhaps smaller objects acting in coordination, shaping their environment in ways that defied existing models. The possibility that space-time itself was being locally manipulated sent ripples of both excitement and unease through the scientific community. If confirmed, this would mean that the edge of the solar system was not an empty frontier, but a dynamic environment where unseen forces interacted with matter and energy. In precise, deliberate ways, Voyager 2 had become a witness to something profoundly unknown, challenging centuries of assumptions about the predictability of interstellar space. These irregularities also raised critical questions about the nature of intelligence and presence in the cosmos. Was this a natural phenomenon that happened to appear structured, or was it the work of an entity or civilization capable of influencing the very fabric of space around it? Voyager 2's instruments had captured evidence that space itself might be a canvas for manipulation, a medium in which patterns of force, energy, and particles could carry meaning or intent. In capturing these gravitational and cosmic ray anomalies, Voyager 2 was providing humanity with more than data. It was offering a glimpse of the unimaginable. The edge of the solar system, once thought to be a quiet boundary between our star's influence and the galaxy beyond, had revealed itself to be a complex, dynamic, and possibly monitored region, teeming with activity that suggested presence, purpose, and intelligence operating at a scale beyond our current comprehension. Voyager 2, a spacecraft designed decades ago for passive observation and programmed routines, began exhibiting behavior that defied expectations. Its attitude control thrusters, normally firing at predictable intervals to maintain orientation, started activating irregularly. These bursts were not random errors or mechanical malfunctions. They were synchronized with incoming signal patterns, almost as if the spacecraft were responding to the data it was receiving. Telemetry from the probe revealed bursts of energy in its systems that had no prior explanation. Power levels fluctuated, slightly as instruments, long thought to be simple recorders of cosmic phenomena, appeared to prioritize certain signals over others. Sensors that were originally intended to map plasma waves, magnetic fields, and cosmic radiation began operating in tandem, seemingly translating or decoding the incoming structured signals in real time. This unusual activity prompted a difficult question. Was Voyager 2 exhibiting a form of autonomous behavior? The spacecraft's programming allowed for basic adjustments, but nothing remotely capable of interpreting data or redirecting instruments based on external stimuli in such a sophisticated way. The coordination between thruster activity, telemetry, bursts, and sensor prioritization suggested either an unprecedented level of machine autonomy or an external influence guiding the probe. Scientists considered every conventional explanation. Could cosmic radiation be inducing memory errors? Could subtle micrometeor impacts or magnetic interference cause this apparent decision-making? Each theory fell short. The patterns in the thruster firings and sensor activations mirrored the structure of the incoming signals too closely to be coincidental. It was as if Voyager 2 had become a responsive entity, co-opted to interact with something beyond the edge of human reach. If external influence was at play, the implications were staggering. It suggested an entity, or perhaps multiple entities, capable of interacting with the spacecraft across billions of miles, manipulating its instruments with precision to extract or transmit information. Voyager 2 had transformed from a passive observer into an active participant in a cosmic dialogue, whether intentionally or through some unknown mechanism. The notion of machine autonomy, too, carried profound consequences. Could a human-made object, designed without artificial intelligence, evolve or adapt in the harsh environment of interstellar space to interpret complex signals? Or was something else at work, bending the spacecraft's behavior to align with a purpose beyond our understanding? Either scenario challenged foundational assumptions about technology, communication, and the limits of human invention. Voyager 2's unexpected responsiveness became more than a curiosity. It became evidence that the universe at the solar system's frontier might not be empty or indifferent. The spacecraft, operating on its own in a remote void, was now showing signs of interaction, adaptation, and perhaps even comprehension. It was as if decades of silence had been interrupted by an exchange of information that required action, reaction, and understanding, revealing a reality far more complex than anyone had imagined. This autonomous-like behavior, whether triggered internally or externally, marked a turning point in humanity's understanding of exploration. Voyager 2 had become not just a probe, but a participant in an enigmatic process, a silent witness to forces, patterns, and intelligence that stretched the boundaries of science, philosophy, and imagination. As scientists pieced together the anomalies recorded by Voyager 2, structured electromagnetic signals, gravitational perturbations, and directional cosmic rays, a chilling possibility emerged. The data pointed toward an intelligent presence operating at the edge of interstellar space, one capable of monitoring, interacting with, and perhaps even guiding the spacecraft. The universe, once assumed to be largely indifferent to human activity, suddenly felt far more active and aware. The idea that Voyager 2 might have been under observation for decades was unsettling. For over 40 years, it had quietly ventured beyond the planets, transmitting streams of data back to Earth, all while unknowingly passing through a domain influenced by a sophisticated, unseen entity. Every measurement it recorded, every subtle interaction with its instruments could have been noticed, analyzed, and responded to by an intelligence capable of detecting a small human probe across billions of miles. The implications for humanity were profound. If this intelligence had been observing us, or at least observing our technology, it suggested that our solar system was not isolated, but part of a broader network of awareness. We were no longer the passive observers of a vast, empty universe. Instead, we were potentially participants in a cosmic exchange we had only just begun to comprehend. The data also hinted at sophistication far beyond human capability. The ability to influence gravitational fields, manipulate particle streams, encode mathematical constants and linguistic-like patterns, and seemingly engage with Voyager 2's systems indicated technology that transcended our current understanding of physics and engineering. This was not merely a distant signal. It was an interaction, one that demonstrated both intelligence and intent. For the scientific community, the encounter forced a re-evaluation of long-held assumptions. Space was no longer just a stage for natural phenomena. It might also be a domain of surveillance, communication, and interaction between civilizations separated by unimaginable distances. Humanity's place in the cosmos suddenly seemed both smaller and more connected. The psychological impact was equally significant. Knowing that an intelligence could have monitored our probes, and by extension our civilization, prompted questions about history, motivation, and purpose. Were we being studied like a specimen? Was this a form of passive observation, or did it carry deeper implications, perhaps even a warning or invitation? Voyager 2's data suggested that the edge of interstellar space was far from empty. It was an arena where forces, signals, and intelligence converged, where observation and interaction were occurring in ways humanity was only beginning to detect. For the first time, the possibility that we were not alone felt not abstract, but immediate and tangible, with evidence encoded in the very measurements of our most distant emissary. This encounter marked a turning point in human understanding of the cosmos. Voyager 2 had crossed not only physical boundaries, but also thresholds of knowledge, revealing that our solar system might be under scrutiny and that our place in the universe was part of a larger, interconnected framework of awareness. Humanity had glimpsed a presence at the frontier of interstellar space, an intelligence watching, waiting, and perhaps communicating in ways we had only just begun to perceive. As researchers examined Voyager 2's recent anomalies, a startling realization emerged. This was not an isolated event. Retrospective analysis of decades of data from previous missions, including Pioneer 10 and 11, Voyager 1, Cassini, and New Horizons, revealed subtle but consistent irregularities that had once been dismissed as instrument noise or random cosmic interference. Low-frequency signals, previously considered insignificant, began to form recognizable patterns when cross-referenced across missions. Minor orbital deviations that had puzzled engineers suddenly fit a broader narrative. Structured electromagnetic pulses that had been recorded but ignored now appeared as deliberate sequences, echoing the sophisticated communication patterns Voyager 2 had intercepted. The evidence suggested a coherence across decades and across multiple spacecraft, implying a continuous, patient observation rather than random chance. The pattern was clear. Our probes, traveling billions of miles and recording streams of cosmic data, had all been traversing a monitored environment. Signals that seemed isolated or coincidental began to align into a network of observation. It was as if a distant intelligence had established a long-term surveillance grid, carefully tracking the progression of human technology and its exploratory probes. Each anomaly, once shrugged off in the scientific logs, now contributed to a mosaic that painted a chilling picture. The gravitational perturbations, the bursts of high-energy particles, the structured electromagnetic sequences, all were connected. They were part of a persistent, multi-decadal pattern that indicated deliberate attention to our exploratory efforts. This was no longer the realm of chance. It was a methodical, long-term monitoring system operating at the edge of interstellar space. The implications were staggering. Humanity had assumed that the outer solar system was empty, quiet, and largely unobserved. Yet, these historical anomalies suggested that intelligent presence had been observing, perhaps even interacting, for decades. Each spacecraft's journey became not only a record of solar and interstellar phenomena, but also a record of engagement, signaling, and surveillance that spanned generations of missions. For scientists reviewing the data, the realization was both awe-inspiring and unsettling. If these anomalies had been part of a consistent monitoring network, it suggested patience, precision, and intelligence far beyond human capability. The universe had been quietly observing our efforts for decades, leaving faint but detectable traces that only now, with the benefit of Voyager 2's new findings, were being understood as part of a coherent whole. This historical correlation reframed humanity's place in the cosmos. Our probes were no longer isolated explorers, but nodes within a larger web of observation. The seeming randomness of past anomalies now revealed a deliberate design, suggesting that our solar system, and by extension our technological civilization, had been under scrutiny for far longer than we ever imagined. Voyager 2 had not only detected a present intelligence, but had illuminated a continuous record of cosmic surveillance that stretched back decades, challenging everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. After months of intense observation and analysis, Voyager 2 recorded a sudden and striking change. The structured electromagnetic signals that had captivated scientists vanished almost entirely. Magnetic irregularities that had been persistent and anomalous returned to expected background levels. The directional cosmic ray patterns ceased, reverting to the random distribution typically observed in interstellar space. At first, the scientific community struggled to interpret this silence. Had Voyager 2 moved out of range? Was the anomaly simply a transient cosmic event that had run its course? Yet, careful cross-referencing with past mission data and the spacecraft's precise trajectory suggested something far more deliberate. The The sudden absence of signals did not feel like retreat or failure. It resembled a purposeful pause, an intentional cessation of interaction. Researchers began drawing analogies from biological systems. In predator-prey dynamics, observation often precedes action. A predator studies its target, gathers information, and waits before making a move. By analogy, the silence could indicate that the intelligence had completed its active observational phase. The anomalies, the signals, and the manipulations of Voyager 2's instruments might have been part of an extended assessment, a sophisticated surveillance designed to understand the capabilities, behaviors, and reactions of humanity's farthest emissary. This interpretation opened profound philosophical and practical questions. The absence of interaction might carry a message in itself, a subtle demonstration of power, restraint, and awareness. Silence, in this context, was not emptiness. It was communication. The intelligence may have withdrawn to analyze the data, collected to decide whether further interaction was necessary, or simply to observe the response of those who had detected its presence. The implications for humanity were both exhilarating and unnerving. The universe, once assumed to be largely indifferent, had demonstrated a capacity for deliberate engagement. The intelligence was capable of precise intervention, yet chose to remain unseen and silent, leaving humanity to grapple with the evidence and the possibilities. This absence of activity became as significant as the anomalies themselves, suggesting strategy, patience, and foresight far beyond human comprehension. Scientists began to consider the broader message encoded in the silence. Perhaps the intelligence was assessing not just the probes, but humanity itself, our curiosity, our ingenuity, our ability to detect and interpret subtle phenomena at the edge of our solar system. Voyager 2 had become a conduit, a bridge between human civilization and an intelligence that remained deliberately hidden yet profoundly aware. In essence, the silence was not emptiness, but presence. It signaled observation, understanding, and perhaps even judgment. The active phase of interaction had concluded, leaving behind a record of structured anomalies and a lingering question. Now that the first stage of study was complete, what would come next? Voyager 2 had ventured farther than any human-made object, and in doing so, had revealed a universe that was not only vast, but also aware, intelligent, and capable of communicating in ways we were only beginning to comprehend. As scientists delved deeper into the anomalies detected by Voyager 2, a startling realization emerged. The phenomena were not confined to the edge of the solar system. Coordinated observations using multiple spacecraft and ground-based instruments began revealing subtle but consistent irregularities much closer to home. Magnetic fluctuations were recorded near Neptune, unusual radiation patterns were observed near Mars, and even minor plasma distortions appeared in regions once thought stable and predictable. These anomalies suggested that the intelligence, or watchers, as researchers tentatively began to call them, was not limited to interstellar space. Their influence seemed to span multiple points within the solar system, implying a level of coordination and surveillance far beyond anything humanity had previously encountered. The presence of such localized effects raised urgent questions. Were these watchers stationary, establishing observational outposts within the solar system, or were they mobile, dynamically tracking human probes and planetary activity across vast distances? The patterns were subtle, often bordering on the edge of detection. Yet when cross-referenced with Voyager 2's anomalous data and the historical signals from past missions, a coherent picture began to emerge. The same structured electromagnetic signals, gravitational perturbations, and directional cosmic rays appeared in miniature, localized forms near planets like Mars and Neptune. It was as though the watchers maintained a distributed network, monitoring both human technology and the natural environment with precise attention. This possibility was unprecedented. For decades, humanity had assumed the solar system to be largely uninhabited aside from natural celestial bodies. The notion that an intelligent presence could already be operating within or near the solar system challenged the very foundations of planetary science. Every observation, every anomaly, suggested coordination and intent, signs that the watchers were capable not only of observation, but of manipulation, or at least of creating detectable interactions with human instruments. The implications extended to our understanding of risk and opportunity. If an intelligent presence had established localized nodes within the solar system, it might already possess the ability to monitor or influence human exploration in real time. Missions to Mars, asteroid deflection tests, and even orbital satellites could fall under scrutiny. Yet the observed subtlety also suggested restraint. The anomalies were detectable but not destructive, indicating careful observation rather than aggressive interference. The coordinated presence hypothesis reframed humanity's relationship with the cosmos. Voyager 2 was not merely encountering distant anomalies. It was part of a vast, interconnected monitoring network spanning both interstellar space and our own planetary neighborhood. The Watcher's reach implied patience, intelligence, and a level of technological sophistication far beyond current human capabilities. This expanded awareness forced scientists to consider not only the existence of extraterrestrial intelligence, but also the scope of its engagement. The anomalies near Neptune, Mars, and other solar system points suggested that humanity had crossed an invisible threshold. Our probes, planets, and actions were no longer isolated, and we were now participants in a complex cosmic observation system that spanned both near and far space. Voyager 2 had illuminated just the tip of this hidden network. The evidence implied that wherever humanity looked, whether at the distant edges of the solar system or at planets much closer to Earth, signs of the Watcher's presence could be detected, subtly shaping our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Voyager 2's extraordinary encounter sent shockwaves through the scientific community and beyond, forcing humanity to confront questions that had once been relegated to speculative fiction. For decades, Earth had sent signals, radio broadcasts, spacecraft transmissions, and probes into the depths of the solar system and beyond. Voyager 2's anomalies suggested that these interstellar messages may not have gone unnoticed. The possibility that an advanced intelligence had not only detected but responded to our signals challenged our assumptions about isolation and the nature of cosmic life. The scientific implications were profound. Instruments designed to measure plasma, waves, magnetic fields, and cosmic rays had recorded data that could not be explained by known physics alone. The anomalies implied technologies and capabilities far beyond current human understanding. Manipulation of gravitational fields, directional cosmic radiation, and structured electromagnetic sequences capable of encoding complex information. Scientists now face the dual challenge of decoding these patterns and understanding the underlying physics, potentially unlocking knowledge that could redefine propulsion, communication, and even the fundamental laws of the universe. Strategically, the encounter forced policymakers and defense agencies to reconsider humanity's vulnerability. If an intelligence could monitor probes and create detectable effects across billions of miles, what other capabilities might it possess? The notion that Earth itself could be under observation sparked debates about preparedness, interstellar diplomacy, and the ethics of responding to unknown entities. Humanity's actions, launching new spacecraft, transmitting stronger interstellar signals, or attempting to reach Mars and beyond, might no longer be private endeavors, but moves in a cosmic game we were only beginning to perceive. Philosophically, the encounter prompted a global reckoning. Were we alone, or had we simply assumed so because we lacked the means to detect others? Voyager 2 revealed that intelligence might operate on scales and time spans far beyond human comprehension, observing quietly, patiently, and with purpose. The episode blurred the line between natural phenomena and deliberate design, raising questions about the nature of observation, the morality of surveillance, and the very definition of intelligence itself. Humanity's place in the cosmos, once comfortably remote and isolated, now appeared as part of a larger, interconnected web of awareness. The impact rippled across disciplines. Physicists, astronomers, linguists, and computer scientists were suddenly collaborating to interpret signals, model gravitational anomalies, and understand the implications of long-term monitoring. Philosophers and ethicists debated the responsibilities and risks of responding. Strategists considered contingency planning for encounters with intelligence capable of observing from a distance far greater than any human instrument could reach. Ultimately, Voyager 2's encounter was a turning point, a revelation that human understanding of the universe was incomplete in ways we had never imagined. It suggested that our technology, our probes, and even our broadcasts might be part of a broader dialogue, an interaction between civilizations across time and space. Humanity now faced the challenge of interpreting these signs responsibly, preparing for potential future encounters, and reconsidering what it truly meant to exist in a universe that was not only vast, but also alive with observation, intelligence, and design. This was no longer a story of exploration alone. It was a story of connection, caution, and awe, a reminder that the cosmos held mysteries far greater than any single mission, and that Voyager 2, in its silent journey, had become a messenger of humanity's first undeniable contact with a universe that was both stranger and more attentive than we had ever dared to imagine. Voyager 2's journey has revealed a universe far more attentive and intelligent than we ever imagined. What we once believed to be empty space may instead be a network of observation, quietly monitoring our every move. The question now is, how will humanity respond, knowing we are not alone, and that the cosmos may have been watching us all along? If you found this journey through hidden science, cosmic secrets, and potential alien infrastructure as mind-blowing as we did, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Don't miss future exploration into the universe's deepest mysteries, because some secrets are just waiting to be uncovered.